Yeah, hi everyone. Hi everyone. Can you please confirm, am I visible and am I audible? Yep. Hi. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Hello. 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 Hello, everyone. Please join us. Okay. Great. Okay. Yes. So, how is everyone? Did you go? Did you practice the yesterday session? Did anyone go home and practice the tags which were there, or even what was done in the class? Even that would do. How many of you? How many? Okay. How many of you practiced? Did really after the session went home and those of you who didn't have the VS Code extent compiler downloaded it and practiced it? How many of you can I please have yes or no in the chat box? Practiced. Okay. Friend says he practiced. I didn't attend yesterday. Okay. No issues. So you can also watch the recording, right? You have the recording in the YouTube itself. Okay. Can see many of you have really practiced it. Udit Bhatnagar, Anurag, Maurya. Okay, that's great to see. That's great to see. Okay, great guys. Great. Okay, so let's start with today's session, right? So yesterday I'll give you a recap what we did yesterday. We covered some of the basic tags and elements, right, that are used in the HTML, and also we did some basics, right? So basics in the sense what are the different types of tags that we have, right? And we discovered in depth that what is the use of a particular tag and things like that, right? And we also saw some quick short example and short demo via the code so that it will help you, to exactly see and visualize what are the things that we are doing, right? Okay, great. So today we'll be doing, first of all, we'll do a most important thing, right? So today we'll be starting with the anchor tags, right? Those of you know, well and good, right? Those of you who don't, so please pay attention to today's class. It will be a very uh, impactful session, right? So we'll be starting with, I'll tell you the flow. We'll be starting with the anchor tags, right? Uh, Before that, let me open my notepad. Okay, right. So I'll tell you the flow of today's session. I'm thinking of doing anchor tags, right? Anchor tags. After anchor tags, we will be covering forms, right? We'll be covering various elements that are there in forms, right? Elements and also attributes. What are the types of attributes that we usually have, right? And at the end of the day, we also see an example. Like, so the theoretical part is needed, but yeah, we also see the practical implementation. Oh, is my screen not shared? Just a second. Sorry. Let me just share my screen as well. Just, I'm so sorry for that. Yeah. Okay. Is my screen visible? Okay. Yeah. Yep. 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 So sorry for that. Yeah. So now is the screen visible, guys? So yeah. Okay. Great. 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 Okay. So yeah, I was just saying, I was just typing on the topics and the flow of today's lecture, right? So I was thinking, yeah. So okay, I'll write it again itself. No issues with that, right? So I was going with the flow of the lecture. So what we'll do? We'll be covering anchor tags, right? And in fact, those of you who know good, those of you don't know, will be covering in depth and the difference of interlinking, intralinking, and things like that. After anchors, we'll be covering forms. Again, most widely used in HTML, right? Forms. We have various elements of forms as well, right? After elements of forms, we have various attributes, right? Attributes. And after attributes, I'm thinking of doing a demo, right? Demo example of all the concepts that we'll be covering, right? Okay. Okay. So this would be some flow of the lecture, right? And if time permits, we'll be also starting with the basics of CSS. If only time permits. Otherwise, we'll continue the CSS from tomorrow. There's no issues with that, right? Okay. Why Notepad, not VS Code? Yeah, so we'll be so this is just for the explanation purpose. I'll be adding notes here because in the Notepad I can write from my pen, right? But for the coding part is concerned, I'll be doing it in VS Code itself, right? Uh, okay, so Taranga Singh, can you please tell how to run yesterday's session? What do you exactly mean by run yesterday's session, right? Can you please? So okay, I think what your meaning is to run it on your browser, right? So for that you have to download this extension. I'll tell you the extension name. It's called Live Server, right? This extension. Go to VS Code and download this extension. Okay. So once downloading this extension, you will see an option of Go Live here. Okay. And if once you press Go Live, right, then you can run your program. Got it? And also, if you still have any doubts, so will also be running the program today as well. You can also get the reference from there also, right? And yeah, you can also obviously watch yesterday's recording also. We did that. I think yesterday I told you some of the important extensions, right? One was live server, and one was auto rename tag, and one was prettier, if I'm not wrong. Yeah. So also download these three extensions. That would, for now, that would do. Later on, once we get more into depth, I'll tell you to add more extensions as well. All right. Am I clear? Guys, shall we start? Okay, so just give me a second. Let me just open the chat box properly. Yep. Just a second, guys. Just a second. Okay. Right. So let's start, right? Let's start anchors, right? So what are anchor tags exactly? Has anyone got any idea? Those of you who know anchor tags, what do you mean? What do you mean by anchor tags, right? Anchor tags. I think some of you do have an idea here. I can see anchor tags, right? Anchor tags. What do they do? What is the purpose? What is the need? And things like that. Can't you just increase the font size? Okay, right. So what exactly are anchor tags? I'll also increase this, right? So in, in anchor tags, what do they do? First of all, I'll tell you what do they do, right? Right, anchor tags. So they, what do they do? They help you to navigate, and this navigate works in two parts. Either it will be within the same document, right? Within the same document. And second part, it would be within different between different files. Okay, between different files, right? So, and what is the tag for it? For anchor tag, we use a, right? We just simply use an a tag. Or it's better if I just type it in the text box, right? What do we use for anchor tag? We use a. We use it like this, right? Not able to increase the font. I don't know. Is the font okay, guys? Can you see this one? The anchor tag which I'm writing in the text, is it okay? I think it's not increasing. I can increase the box size, but not. Okay, ठीक है, right. Okay, visible. ठीक है, ठीक है, ठीक है, ठीक है. Got it, got it. ठीक है. So this is how we use an anchor tag, right? So I told you it can create a hyperlink within the text, right? So if let's suppose if you're in an HTML document, what does it do? right? And let's suppose you are on a top section of a, let's suppose you are somewhere where you have a social media handle, let's suppose Facebook, right? And I want that if a user clicks on Facebook, I want to redirect to a Facebook page that is written, that is all obviously a link I'll be adding that will open me the Facebook page, right? Here Facebook, I mean the login page or logup page, whatever it is, it will show up, right? So this is an example of different files because I am linking in my HTML code. What I'm doing is I'm linking another external file which is not present in my code, obviously, because obviously I have not written the code for Facebook, right? I'm not a Facebook developer. But what is happening that I'm linking external file which is not there in the which is not there in my code, but I'm getting it externally, right? This is what I mean by different files, right? And there is one that, and this one is called interlinking. So what is the technical term for it? If I were to mention it here, this is known as interlinking. What does interlinking mean? Interlinking means linking to different part, right? Interlinking. This is interlinking. And the second part for it, the second part we have is that is within the same page, right? So if I were to go within the same page, so earlier one was between different files, and this is within the same page, right? And the technical term for it is intralinking. Intralinking, right? We use intralinking here, right? What is the difference? What is the difference here? So let's suppose I am, this is my HTML part, right? This is my HTML code, and let's suppose I have a menu icon, or not even menu icon. Let's suppose there's a option there that says back to top, let's suppose, right? And let's suppose this is an anchor tag, right? And I want that if my user clicks on this button, my cursor should come right here instead of scrolling it via the mouse, via the scroll pad of your mouse, like this one, like this. What I want to do, I want to just click on that button, and I just want to land on the top of the page, right? So this is called intralinking. Intralinking means within the same page, right? Within the same page. That's intralinking, right? Got it? So now I'll tell you how do we use it. Uh, okay, yeah, okay. Now I'll tell you how do we even use it. So first thing first, how do we use it? Okay, so I'll just directly go to the VS Code, right? Instead of doing, I'll just go through an example. Okay, so I'll quickly make my HTML file index.html. By the way, I hope everyone knows what is the extension I talked yesterday, right? So for so the extension that we use, naming a file, it is .html, right? Here will be the name, right? Whatever the name is, name.html. And for adding CSS, we use .css. File name, obviously, whatever file name you want to give, .css, right? Okay. So now I'll just head over to my VS Code. I'll just head over to my VS Code, right? And I also get the boilerplate, right? So I am using a shortcut, but it is recommended that you guys, even practice and don't try to avoid shortcuts, right? Because in the learning phase itself, if you start using shortcuts, then might hamper your learning experience, right? So I'm not saying that don't use shortcut, but if you are in a learning stage, try to practice as much as you can, because yesterday I told you, right? The interviewer might not have VS Code. He might give you a notepad and tell you to write HTML code. In that case, you would be requiring proper, but you should be remembering the what is the boilerplate of HTML. In that case, it can make a difference, right? Okay. So what I'll do, I'll first of all explain you what do you mean by this, right? Within the same document, that is interlinking. So what I'll do, I'll just quickly make one heading, right? Yesterday we covered heading tags. I hope everyone knows. So let's say let me see. Let me just type web technologies, right? And also in the meanwhile, I'll also split screen and just do, and let's see, right? So here I have this one. So after this, what I'll do, I'll just make a div, right? For those of you who don't know div, okay, let me explain div also for those of you who don't know. So what is a div? Uh, div, it is a container, right? It is a container, okay, which can contain any sort of information, which can contain any sort of information, right? So what do I mean by that is that, let's suppose if I have a div, right? This is a type of div. If I have a div, right, and again if I close it here, so whatever the content is, then let's suppose I want a heading here, right? And I want a paragraph, I want, let's suppose, an anchor tag. So it is always better if I enclose it inside one div. It means that one container. I can obviously have it individually. I can have a paragraph tag individually, sorry, h1 tag individually. I can have a paragraph tag individually, an anchor tag individually as well. But if I want to enclose it in a simple div, so let's suppose there might be a condition that these three tags which are there, I'm talking in terms of CSS. Let's suppose I want to provide a same color, right? Let's suppose all these tags should have a background color of yellow, right? Yellow color. So how would I do it? I would just enclose my whole content that needs to be provided with yellow background within a single div, and I will just simply provide this div color yellow. So in that case, what will happen? My all the divs, they all, because it's a container at the end of the day, that whole container will be of yellow color. That's how we can achieve for saving the file. Yeah, right. So someone is saying, how, when can we use the span tag? Okay, so span tag we use when, again, so for those of you who know and div, right, difference. So the first difference is it is inline. The right. What does inline mean? We'll be covering it tomorrow. This will be covered in the CSS part, right? Those of you who know, good. Those of you who don't know, don't worry. So it basically means if I have a div here, right? If I make a div, so this whole width will be covered, will be blocked. That means that I cannot add anything here. But if I use a span tag is an inline tag. So inline tag means I can go ahead and write whatever I want, because this will not block the whole width. This will not block, right? Not block. Whereas this will block your whole div. So this is the major difference that is there between a span and a div, right? Those of you who know, good, but those of you who don't know, we'll be covering in depth the difference between inline and block in tomorrow's session. So don't worry, right? Okay, right. Okay, so I explained you the div. So now I'm making a div, right? A div obviously meaning a container. Now I'll just head over to my Firefox. I'll just open it and yeah. So web technology, right? And let's suppose in this div I want to have a normal text. Let's suppose lorem ipsum I'll type 400, right? So I have a text here. Right? Web technologies, and let's suppose I also want to create a heading. Let it let it be HTML, right? So this is my first web technology, and simply I'll just copy the rest part, and I'll just copy it, right? So this is for the HTML, this is for the CSS. Let's suppose take React, Angular, and PHP. Let's suppose just a random example, right? Okay, so just change the name as well. We have HTML. Now we have CSS. Now we have React.js. We have JavaScript, and now we have, let's suppose, I don't know, maybe PHP, right? Okay. So as you can see, the output here, I get, this is the HTML, this is the CSS part, JavaScript, sorry, React, JavaScript, and PHP, right? So now what do I want to accomplish? So as I told you, we'll be uh, we'll be seeing intralinking, right, within the same page. Now, how do I interlink? Like, how do I make sure that, okay? So first of all, I need to add a link, right? I told you what is the tag for it. We use a for that. So again, I'll head over, right? I'll head here, and what I'll do, I'll just simply add an anchor tag. So anchor tag, okay. So first of all, you type in the keyword A, right? A stands for anchor, and then you give the reference, right? So how do you give a reference? You type the keyword href, and here you give the reference, right? And you just close it. And here you can type, let's suppose this is the HTML tag, right? HTML, right? And the reference. So if I scroll up here, you can see we have got an anchor tag, right? So reference will come to it later on, right? And similarly, I want to create one for all the technologies. HTML. Here I'll have CSS. After CSS, let's suppose what was the tech stack that we used? I think we used React, right? React.js. React.js, and similarly we have JavaScript, and similarly we'll have what is that? PHP, right? PHP. So again, those of you are let me just clear it one more time with you. So this is my right. This is my anchor tag. Let me see if I can increase the size. Yeah, okay, okay. So this is my anchor tag, right? So what has it got? It has got a first of all keyword A, right? A here stands for anchor, obviously. Now this is the reference, right? Reference for what? Reference for what? You might ask me. So this will give the reference, and it I need to tell my HTML, right? So which part or which link I need to navigate, right? So this will basically contain a link, right? That which part or link or part of the page that I want to navigate. Because obviously, it cannot assume that you want to go to that or this link. Let's suppose I want to google.com. So I'll type here www.google.com. So now my HTML will know that this is the reference that is being provided, and I'll just simply run to that reference, right? This is what href is called, right? And after href, this is we give the name what we want to give the name, right? So this, what is it used for? It is used for naming the anchor tag, right? Naming the anchor tag, right? 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 Got it? Clear, everyone? So yeah. So let me just head over to it again. Okay. Right. So now I have, as you can see, I have successfully created these links. Right. Now my second task. Second task. What was the second task? Is to link. Is to link what? Is to link my the HTML part. So I want that if I click on CSS, so now it is doing nothing, right? If I'm clicking on HTML, it is just reloading. As you can see, if you can focus here, it is just only reloading. It is not navigating. Why it is not navigating? Because I haven't given any link here for obvious reasons, because my HTML doesn't know where to navigate, right? If I click on CSS, what would have happened? That I should have landed here, right? So how do I do it? How do I add link? How do I make sure that it is being navigated? For that we use concept called, for that, because I need to give a specific ID, right? Let's suppose if I want to navigate to CSS, I should be, my HTML code should be aware that with what is CSS here. How will I do that? With the help of linking, right? So let me just go and this is the div, right? So let me just give it an ID, right? ID, let's suppose HTML. Okay. And same for here also. Let me give it an ID of CSS. And here again, same ID, React.js. Okay. After React.js, ID is JavaScript. And after that, yep, ID is PHP. Right? So what have I done now? I have just given a uniqueness to my div, because as you can see, I have 5 headings: one for HTML, one for CSS, React, JavaScript. So how will my HTML know that which ID I want to refer to? For that uniqueness, I'm using a keyword called ID. Right? ID will tell me that okay, this is the uh, this is the heading. Let's suppose React, this is the heading, of course, in the bottom of the page. This is the heading that I want to navigate, right? So I'll just provide an ID here, right? After providing an ID, right? So I just need to provide the reference, right? Important thing. a concept related. How do we use intra? How do we do how if you want to use intralinking? We first of all use a keyword called hash, right? After hash, we use the name of the ID that we want to link. Name of the ID. Right? This could be even uh, yeah, yeah, name of the ID, right? So I was telling that, yeah, name of the ID. So once I have provided, so I have provided the ID, right? Every heading has got a unique ID, right? Spelling of React.js, RECT.js, uh, RECT. I think it's correct. Okay. Anyways, so yeah. So my next task is to add. So how will I add? As I told you, I'll first use hashtag, then I will use the name that is HTML. Right? Same again. Here I'll use hashtag, then I'll use CSS. Here I'll use hashtag, I'll use React.js. Here I'll use hashtag, I'll use JavaScript. Here I'll use hashtag, I'll just use PHP. So what has happened here? So I'll explain the process. What has happened here? So as you can see, this H1 heading, this is the heading. This has an ID. What is the name of the ID? It is HTML. And now I'm telling that, okay, this is an anchor link that I've provided, right? And this anchor link has got an ID called HTML. So what it will do, once I click on this part, it will redirect me to the HTML part. As simple as that. Once I click on CSS part, it will redirect me to the CSS part, right? And obviously, so rest of the things will also work the same. I click on JavaScript, it will redirect me to JavaScript part. And PHP, it will direct me to the PHP part, right? And if I click on React, I think spelling of React, yeah, someone is saying React.js. Yeah, so I think the T was missing, right? So now if I click on React, it will redirect me to the React.js part. Okay, clear, clear everyone till here? Okay, acha. So now I think I have a problem here. So let's suppose if I want to click on PHP, and if I want to go to the top of the page, right? So it is very hectic to me every time to just scroll up, scroll up, scroll up, scroll. And let's suppose if you have billions of lines of code before you want to uh, go to the next page. So if you want to come at the top of the page, so it will become very hectic. So let's suppose I am here, I am at JavaScript part, and I want to go to the top of the page. So I would have to again scroll up, scroll up, scroll up. So what could be the better way, right? Is adding a what? Adding a back to top button, right? Can anyone let me know with their own understanding how can I do this? How can I add a so what I'm wanting is here. This is the HTML, right? In HTML, I would just want a link, right? And I just want a link that says back to top. This is the link that I want to create, and I'll just give a reference. Obviously, reference I need to give obviously, right? And let me add some space as well. By the way, for space we use a tag called br, so it will add a space, right? And what else? What else? What else? Also, let me. Okay, that's fine, right? So here it is. I want to add a back to top button. I want to add a back top button. So anyone in the chat box, how do I I want that once I click on this, I want to go to the top of the page. And similarly, I add the back to top button here as well. So let's suppose in the CSS part also I'll back to top, and here also I'll add back to top. Also I'll add back to top. Here also I'll add back to top, right? So as you can see, the problem has been solved, not completely, but yeah, partially. So if I am on JavaScript, I want to scroll on the top of the page. I want that once I click on this part, I want to land on the top of the page. It is by default landing on the top of the page because I have given an empty hashtag, but it's not the case always, right? So there has to be some way, because if I do it like this, then it won't, because by what I mean by is, because if you don't give anything, it will or by default navigate to the top of the page. Now it won't, because I don't have any link to it, right? So anyone, how do we do it? Okay, Uttaren says give the web technology heading and ID. Okay, and add make a tag, then add the href ID. Yeah, Okay, that's very correct. Okay, anyone else? Anyone has got any idea apart from Uttrin, how do we navigate to the top of the page, right? So let's suppose I want to navigate to this part, right? How do I do it? How do I do it? How do I navigate? Okay, anyone using class? Okay, so I'll tell you. We'll use ID only for this one, which is that. So I'll tell my anchor that okay, I want to navigate to this part. So first of all, I'll give the class, let's suppose WT, any random class I've given, right? And now I want to make sure that once I click on this link, I want to navigate where? I want to navigate to WT, right? So now if I click, now see it is navigating on WT, right? Similarly here, I'll just click on hashtag and click on WT. Now if I go to the CSS part and if I click on back to top, it will be coming here, right? And similarly for all the cases, right? Similarly for all the cases, I just do hashtag WT. I just do a hashtag of WT. I just do a hashtag of WT, right? So now if I'm on PHP and I want to go to the back top of the page, I don't have to scroll the page as itself. So because I have provided the anchor link that is, automatically redirect to the top. So I will just do this. So this was all the case of your, let me just open it again, notepad. This was all about your intralinking, guys, right? Intralinking. Intralinking. After this, let's talk about interlinking. This is also very easy. Right? Everything is very easy in HTML if you follow along, right? Now interlinking. So as I told you, interlinking is between different sections of, sorry, different, am I typing? Yep, different part website or any file you can say, right? Which is not the same file, right? It is not the same file, not the same file. Earlier, this was the same file, but in this case, we don't have a same file. So for that case, let me do one thing. Let me just simply make some demo files, right? Because I want to showcase what exactly do I mean by that. So I'll quickly make demo1.html, demo2.html, demo3.html, demo4.html, right? So let's suppose I'm just creating 4 different files, and I'm just creating a boilerplate of all these ones, right? Demo1, demo2, demo3, and demo4. Okay. Now what do I want? What let's and also let me just click on demo1. Let me create a heading for that heading. What is the heading? Let it be, this is demo1, and yeah, so this is demo2, this we have is demo3, this is demo4 obviously, right? And like that. So now what do I want, right? So what is my thought process here? I want that so this is my page presently, right? Now what do I want? I just want that I'll making some more anchor tags. Okay, okay, right. So this let me give it an anchor, right? A href. For now I'm leaving it blank, right? And I just do demo1, right? And similarly I'll also do it for the rest of the demos, demo1, demo2, demo3, demo4, demo3, demo4, right? So for now, what is it, right? So as you can see, this whole part, if I were to see where is it there, so it is there in the same file. This HTML part which I'm referring to, it is there in the same file, right? But this demo, right? This demo, I want that it should come from different file altogether. This is a different file that I have, right? So I want to link this file to my existing file. And how do I do that? It's very simple. Instead of just using a hashtag here, we just use a name of the file. So I'll use demo1.html here. Similarly, I'll use demo2.html. Similarly, demo3.html, and at the end of the day, demo4.html. Right? So this is how we, so if I click here, it will land me to the demo1 page. Remember that this demo page is not in my present file. I have made a different file, which is demo1.html, that is linking to another file. This process is called interlinking, right? Interlinking. So different part of the web page you can link together. These are four different parts, right? And this is my index.html, and I have a link here that is, I'm giving a reference, right? I'm giving a reference, and that reference is coming from this file. Again, I'm giving a reference, and that reference coming from this file, right? As soon as I click on this file, what I'm doing is I'm just landing on this page. I'm just landing on this page, and so on, right? This is what it is called an interlink. Right, this is what we do. Uttran says, so what if we need to go to a specific element? So again, I told you a specific element only means that you are here, right? So HTML is a part of specific element here. So for that case, you use a hashtag, right? But if you want to go to a differently separate file, for that you don't use a hashtag, you just use the name of the file, and it will just redirect you to that particular tab, right? This is how we do it. Okay. So now let's move ahead. I think it must be clear by you what do you mean by interlinking, what is intralinking, right? Interlinking is covered. Now let's move to forms. Okay. By the way, any doubts so far in interlinking, intralinking? Meanwhile you can type it in the chat box. I'm just writing it here, right? This topic up is forms. Anyone or any doubt? Interlinking or intralinking? If it is clear, please type yes or no in the chat box so that I get to know and I proceed forward, right? Next up we have is forms. Okay. Great. Dipan says clear. Utpal Patel clear. Great. Utren clear. Naveen, Shan, Naveen Kumar, Jinas. Naveen, what do you mean by I'm not getting the reference at which one? Please explain it properly. Yes, Saraswati, yes. Okay. Monish, you have any doubt? अच्छा, no. Okay. ठीक है, ठीक है, very clear. Okay. I think most of you have been cleared. Still, if you have any doubts, you think you missed some concept, there's always, you can watch the recordings, guys. The recordings are always available, right? On the LetsUpgrade channel as well, right? You can always go and always see the recordings as well. Clear. Okay. Okay. So now let's come to forms, right? Again, forms are also, I would say, a container, right? I told you what is a container, right? Similar to div. So, but the difference is it contains some specific set of elements, which contains some specific set of elements, right? This is a container, right? And what are the specific set of elements that it can contain? It can have a button, it can have an input tag, it can have checkboxes, it can have radio buttons, right? And etc. Some of all are also there, right? Now, so you might ask me, what is then the difference between a div and a form, right? But div also had the same thing. But remember, div inside a div you cannot have this specific elements. It is a tag called as a form. Okay, I'll tell you what is a tag. So for it, we in small letters, right? In small letters. By the way, HTML is case insensitive. It doesn't really matter, but yeah, please always follow the norms. So we use a tag called form, right? Form, form. And in that form, you have all the specific elements right here, right? Name, yeah. So how, where? Okay. So where are exactly form used? Where are forms used? Anyone in the chat box? Any use case of forms? Why do we use forms, and where are they? Where are exactly form used? Can anyone tell me? Anyone tell me where are forms used? Given examples of forms. Anyone? Yep. Okay. Utpal says login page. Exactly. Login page. Utpal correct. Login. So the first use case is login page, right? For attendance, use a form for attendance. Actually, we do, right? We do. We do. So the attendance that you do from the description box, the link is provided. If you that is exactly a form, right? You fill in your details and it gets submitted. So it is an example of form. Exactly. Very nicely said. All right. Submit button in exams, websites, checkboxes, contact details. Yes. Rishi Sharma. Sign up page. Yep. Already login. Sign up. Great. Collect student data. You can say, but yeah. So okay. Student collect data. I would say, right? Collect data. Okay. Okay. So exactly. So for those for those who don't know forms, what are forms used for? They are used for creating a login page, right? You can create a login page. You can let's see what does a login page contain, right? It has some name. You type in your name here. You type in your password, right? Type in your password, and let's suppose you type in the phone number. Phone number. This is what we mean by login page or a sign up page, right? And similarly things like that. Attendance, right? You have an attendance sheet, right? You fill the date, you fill the time, you fill your email ID, let's suppose. So this is an attendance sheet. Once you click on submit, it will go to the backend server, right? It will go to the backend server and it will just do its concepts if you want to, right? Again, contact details, same, collecting data. So all these, what are you exactly doing here? This is the name tag that you have, the password, the phone number. So all this is data that needs to be collected and for references. So let's suppose I have a database. If you don't know, don't worry about it. It's just very stored data of students. So once you click this form, once you submit this form, it will get stored in the database, right? And from that database, the companies or anyone else can keep a track of the data, can keep a track of your attendance and things like that, right? Right. Okay. Okay. Form. So V for form, V, right? Right. Okay. Now after why elements I've covered, or I've covered usage. Now form as also has some attributes, right? Attributes. What are attributes? I explained you yesterday. They are they provide extra information about a tag, right? These are attributes. Okay, what are the attributes that a form has? What are the attributes that a form has exactly? So, right, the first one I would say is type. Type, you can say, example, we use a password. Okay, I'll come to the example all later on. Don't worry about it. So, first one is type, right? You tell which type of the data you want to enter. Let's suppose here I want to enter a date. So, my format will be date. Here I want to enter password. The password is a keyword called a password so that it is not visible to the user, right? And phone number is always in number format. Here I want to here I want to see here I want to only want the user that so that he only enters the number format, no text, right? That will be an invalid because number cannot be in a text, right? So this is the type which we use for. After type, we have a thing called value. So this value you provide by default. That by default, what value should be visible. So let's suppose someone you must have seen that name. It's written XYZ, right? So this is a value. I'll also code it along, but for now, the theory part I'm covering. This will tell you what is the by default value that is present, right? I think next we have size. This will tell you the size of your input box, the length, right? The size. Let's suppose this size is, let's suppose, 4, and I want to give a 6 size. I want to give a 2 size. So 2 size will be comparatively smaller. size of your input, right? Size of your input box. After size, we have a min length also. What should be the minimum length your password should contain? Like you must have seen that enter minimum 5 characters and things like that. This is used to tell the minimum number of characters. You also have read only, right? And disabled, right? You also have disabled means that you cannot enter anything into that data. It's just there for the view purpose, right? And read only is only you cannot edit anything. It will just be for your view. Like, you can only see. You cannot, right, type anything in that, right? This is what I mean by view, right? So jumping back, what is a form? It is a container that provides specific sum of a specific set of elements. What are the elements? Button, input, checkboxes, radio boxes. I mean, there is so far I think I can remember these only, but yeah. And after that, you have a form, right? What is it used for? It is used for login page, attendance, contact, collect data, and things like that. Attributes. What are attributes? It can have a type, like what type I want to do it. Let's suppose text, right? Value is used to tell what is it, what will be the default value, right? Size, the size of an input box. Min length, and there's also uh, called as a mass length, right? Min length and mass length and things like that. And disable, you cannot, as the name says, that disable, right? You cannot, it is disabled. You cannot write anything in that, right? So let's just quickly go through an example by this. Let me just head over to my this part, right? Okay. Or let me do one thing. Let me just go into demo one and just let me open it live. Go live, and here I have demo one, right? Instead of demo one, give it let's give it a heading called forms. Okay, forms. So what is the tag I told you? You use form here, right? Inside a form, the first one is input. Let's suppose I want to make users input some data. For that, we use an input tag, right? Input tag. Okay. Just forget this for now. I'll tell you input tag. This is an input tag, right? Okay. Let me do it in a very proper way. Input. Right, input. Okay. Right. This is a normal input tag. I can type anything I want here. Let's suppose my name. Okay. Let's suppose my name, and let's suppose YouTube. Anything I can write. Okay. So as you can see, the next the attribute here is type. Type means which type I want the text to be. So by it is text here, right? Even if you don't write anything, the default value of type here is text. Okay, let me mention it here only. Type has a default value of text. If you don't provide anything, it will just give you a text value. As simple as that, right? It's very simple, and it's very understandable, right? So next up, let's look. I want to make an input for password, right? So for password, obviously, it is very practical, right? So if let's suppose you are typing a password here, you don't want the user to you don't want the user to see your password. Let's suppose I'm typing my password. Let's suppose Ritik@123. So that this can lead to leakage of information, right? So for that, we have a type. We have a type called as password. Yes, right. So now what is the difference? If I type password here, see, it will come in this format. Great, great. Clear for that, right? There's also one thing I missed. That is your label, right? What is label used for? Label used to give heading, used to give information, you can say, instead of heading, information to your form elements, right? Form elements. And how do we use it? How do we use element? So we just have a keyword called label. Okay, so here let's suppose I'll type in label. label, and label you use label for, like label for, and here you type what you want. Let's suppose I want name, right? So what, yep, name, right? So what is the, you can leave it for now. This is will be coming in the later part of the section. Some of you might get confused. So this is enough for now, right? Label for name. So it will tell me that which part of the name I'm referring to, right? And let's do one thing. Let's leave a line here as well. Okay. And let's suppose similarly for this I'll have a label. Type is okay. Let me see it here. Right. Similarly, we can have an input, not input exactly. We can have a label, and this would say password, right? Right, correct. And here, let me just close the line as well. Not here. It would be here. Right. So as you can see, right, whatever name I want here, I can type. Whatever password I want here, I can type. And we have some more examples also. You can also try it from your end, right? Some examples. Let me also use. I think we have a label for checkboxes. Input type. Let's suppose checkbox, right? Checkbox. So this will just give you a checkbox. You can just check, uncheck, check, uncheck, and things like that, right? Right. And you have an attribute called as a placeholder, right? So what does a placeholder do? What does a placeholder do? It will give you a default value. So let's suppose not here, we cannot give checkbox placeholder. Let me just comment it out. Just comment it out, and let's suppose instead of using label, right? Instead of using this, I want to use a watermark. What is a watermark? So I'll tell you what is a watermark. So for that, first of all, we use a placeholder, and what do I want to be the default watermark? So let's suppose here I want to say enter your name, right? So this will come here as a watermark. So now if I want to remove this, I can remove this as well. No issues with that. Similarly, I can use a placeholder, enter your password. This seems more convenient and more clean, obviously, right? Enter your password. As simple as that. And also I can remove labels from here. I can use labels from here. Sir, how are you labeling inside the input? I'm not labeling inside. So this is my input tag, right? This is a single input tag, and label I was providing it here. This is not inside. This is outside. Outside label, label tag, right? Label tag. Got it? Okay. Right. Similarly, we have one for, I would say, okay, if we are going on attributes, let's suppose we want an attribute type. We can use various types as well. So one type, what are the types that we discussed again? So we have discussed value, size. So this is size. So let's suppose I by input type, let's suppose this time it's a number. Number means only number will be present, right? And placeholder I am giving, let's suppose uh, OTP, like enter your OTP. Let's suppose you get an OTP from number, and we are saying you to enter that OTP here, right? And I also want a minimum length. So I want that uh, minimum length or maximum length I can also use. I want that the length of the OTP should not exceed more than 4, right? So I can give it a value called max length, and I can let's suppose give it a value of 3, right? So now what will happen if I uh, max length 3, right? Okay, why is this still working? Let me just see. Max length. Okay, okay. Acha, it is number only. Okay. Just give me a second, guys. Let me just do it once again. We are missing something here. So input type. we use number, right? Number, and why is it having text? What if I do input text email? Let me type out the email first. Input text email. And yeah, this time it's working, right? Okay, so I'll come to the number part again tomorrow if it's not working. But in the meanwhile, let's discuss some other. So let's suppose we also have a type called input type equals to a button. So what will it do? It will just create a button, right? Just create a button, and I can what do you say? So this is the button part of it, and what are the things that are remaining apart from button? This disable, yeah, this is very interesting. So let's suppose I want to make an input tag, right? Input tag, input. Let me try from here only. We don't have a number. Yeah, math can provide three lines, not three characters. I would have to check on that. So I'll let you know tomorrow. Don't worry. I'll let you know. So input tag I have closed. Dipan, so input tag is a self-closing tag, right? Those of you who know self-closing tag, okay, well and good. Those of you don't, we'll be covering it tomorrow. What is self-closing tag? It means that it will be closed within the line itself. So you can see this line, right? This means that it is a self-closing tag. So it is being closed within only. Right? You don't have to explicitly close it, just like you're doing with form. You have this is a non-self-closing tag. You have to explicitly close it. But in case of an input, it is an example of a self-closing tag. So it will be closing within itself. That's the difference. Yeah, label tag is for the input for better user experience, you can say, and you can also use placeholder for that. Right? Placeholder is also good for that. Okay. Okay. So after that, what do we have got? What have we got? So I was saying I was using disable, right? So input type. Let's suppose I'm providing uh, is text, right? And let's suppose I'm providing it disabled, right? So now, as you can see, if I'm clicking here, it is being highlighted like this. But as this one is disabled, I'm not able to even access this. And if I want, I can add a placeholder like disabled, right? Disabled. So this is disabled. This is only for the viewing purpose. Only for the viewing purpose. That's it. The punch is I forgot to write this at the end of the not close tag. Punch, tell me the line number. Uh, where are you telling? I thought this one. This one are you saying? This one, right? Yeah, this one also. Okay. Yeah, so that was my bad. Yeah, you have to close it. Like, you have to close it like this. Okay. Okay. Right. This is a disable tag, and apart from this, you also have read only, right? So input. I'll make an input type of text, and let's suppose give it read only, and let me give it a placeholder of read only, right? Read only. So this read only is that you can access it, right? So it is being accessible. It is being highlighted. You can read, but this text you cannot even this text is not even highlighted if you want to make it and make your mouse click on that. So this is the difference. This is the only difference between read only and disable tag, right? That was all. That was all. I think with that we have covered most of the basic types of forms as well, right? Forms. This is okay. This is the anchor tag. Okay, forms have been covered. Containers, button, input, checkboxes, radio. You can okay. So you as a homework you can try it for radio buttons. You can take an input type of radio button and then you can see, right. After that, you can forms. Forms have been covered for login purpose, attendance, contact, yeah, things like that, right. And types of forms: value, size, min length, max length, disabled, and read only, right. And these were the only things that were to be covered here, right. I think with that part, we are covered with most of the forms, right? I think if you go and even revise the things that we do, I think 80 or 70%, I would say, not even 80 to 85% of the forms have been covered. You can also go through some of the tags because it is not possible to cover all the tags in the class. I've covered the most important ones. So if you just go over to Google and type HTML tags, right, you will see all the, if you go to W3 school, let's suppose, you will see all the tags, right, all the tags. So let's suppose you have got first name, you have got text, you have got, submit and things like that, and you've also got a usage for that. In why do we use input, why do we use text area? This is a very widely used. You can go home and try this one and select options. There are many of them you can use, right? And you've also got information that what does it do and things like that, attributes and checkboxes. Yep, you can go ahead and take it, right? Also, this also try this one, input type submit. You can also do this one. Okay. Then says, how do we add title? Okay, so for adding a title in the button, are you saying in the button you use? Where is my? I have it. Okay, yeah. So for adding a type in the button, you use. Where's my button? Right? You use a called as value, and you can provide any value that you want. Let's suppose button. This is how you do it. Okay, got it. Okay, I think with that being said, let's find up the session. Let's find up the session. We'll see tomorrow each other in the next part of it, right? Those of you who have any doubts, you can ask in the chat box as well, right? And also, if you have any doubts from tomorrow's lecture or today's lecture, you can also ask them in tomorrow's part, right? So we'll be meeting soon each other at 6:30 onwards again, right? And all the best. I hope you enjoyed the session. Okay, let me see. Okay, I have a doubt here. Why do we use label attribute even if we were to type normally without using label tag? So label tag is nothing label. So without label tag, as you can see, I'm using a placeholder here, right? But if I use a label tag, it will explicitly allocate a line, right? It will explicitly allocate a line. And okay, I'll take the difference, right? So you can see difference. This is, I've used a label tag. So this is a proper text format. And if I'm using anything, if I'm using a placeholder, this will come inside your input box, right? Right. This is the main. This is the main reference. Yes, we can use underscore blank underscore blank. What will it do? It will redirect. It will open a new tab and it will redirect the page there onwards. You can use that. These 5 days give me a certificate. That I attend. Yeah, I think you will get the certificates. Don't worry about that. I think the minimum criteria is 50%. If you even complete 50% of the assignments and be attentive in the class and complete at attendance, it will be good to go. Okay, guys. I think that was all for the today. That was all for the today's session, right? Let me just wind up. If you really like the session, do let me know, right? And we'll see tomorrow each other the same time, right? Okay, guys. Bye bye. All the best. Keep learning.
If you have liked this Essentials program, which is giving you a confidence that you can become a developer, this is just a starting. You can enjoy this learning for at least next 6 months and also become a full stack web developer or a full stack data science person and crack a job end of the day. If you are interested for that program, just go check out LetsUpgrade's full stack program right now from the website. What are the key features of LetsUpgrade's full stack program? 3 key features of LetsUpgrade full stack program. Number 1, you get to learn everything live by an expert coming in from an industry. So this expert is working as a day job, and sham ke time, like evening time, this guy is going to teach you in your classes. This cohort is going to be of only 20 students at the max. So lots of focus is there on you to make you an industry ready developer, and you can get jobs in 150 plus partner companies that we have got, that LetsUpgrade has got, NPCI, Red Plus and various other companies. Now talking about the second feature, you get to build 15 plus projects. These 15 projects will help you get the confidence that you can be the top-notch developer at any company. Let it be the FANG companies or the MANG companies, or let it be any tier 2 or a service-based or product-based companies. Third and the last feature, we have an amazing job board where on a day-to-day basis, we get 10 to 20 job descriptions, JDs, job applications being uploaded by companies directly. You can go ahead and check out those all jobs, apply, and we will go and get you prepared for that interview. So this is the three big USPs of LetsUpgrade's full stack program. Go join right now. You can avail a 20% straight discount. The price of this program is 36,600, but you can get this program for 29,600 right now. Go check it out and let's meet in your batch launch, which is happening this Saturday. Bye bye, take care, have a nice day.